Welcome to the Living Word Podcast. I am your host, Genevieve, and these episodes serve as a reminder to how essential your fullest expression is on this planet during one of the most transformative times in our history. Together, we are going to explore truth through vulnerable conversations about life's deeper meaning, exploring holistic wellness, mindset, spirituality, entrepreneurship, love, and everything in between. Let's dive in, shall we? Welcome back to the Living Word. And right now I am staring at the most beautiful ocean along with the most beautiful, inspiring woman. And we are here in Expuja, Mexico. And I had the opportunity last weekend to be at a fitness show, but this was not a regular fitness show. This was me having the opportunity to watch one of my close friends, my dear sister from another mister, strut on stage and really show herself what is possible for this next phase of life. And what I got from that is realizing that the more things we do for ourselves in this lifetime on a physical, mental, spiritual level, the more we become a magnet to everything that we desire. And so I'm here with Carol Elizabeth, the woman, the goddess, the queen. And Carol, thank you for being here. And I'm so excited to just dive into this newest chapter of transformation, because I feel that I witness you transforming all the time. And so I'd love for you to introduce yourself and why this fitness show and why now.
Sure. Well, it's tough to be here. It's hard. Took a lot to get me here. But I am definitely grateful that the universe brought us together all these years ago and just keeps like rapid fire all the beautiful things that are happening. So thank you for having me here and just being able to share this part of the story, and I think that's the beautiful part about life is you might think that you've made it to the end of your story or you've done enough or, what's next. And what I know is when you just follow your gut or trust your magic, as I say, there's just so much more that you can't even wrap your head around. And so, the short condensed version of the story is I first got into fitness at around 37, 38. I wouldn't call it fitness back then. I was a frumpy dumpy, really grumpy mom of three. I would watch fitness DVDs used to be put in the DVD player back in the day. And I would get my gym clothes on and I would put the DVD in and then I would sit my ass on the couch and watch the DVD while my kids napped. And so when I was 38, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm not feeling good. And that was my first foray into, working out. I started working out. Didn't really change what I was eating, didn't see any results. And then when I started to put them all together, I ended up stepping on a fitness stage at 39 years old. I was going to say I never will, but I know those words are not things I can say, but I would have said I'll never jump out of an airplane. And so strutting on stage in a bikini and being judged at 39 was kind of my bucket list thing. And so I did that and was able to just really feel great. But still, I thought happiness was found in the body. I thought happiness was found in how you looked. And so when I got this body at 39, I was happy-ish, but not fully. I really went on the journey of oh, do they think I'm great? And oh, am I good enough? And oh, can I get a trophy? And oh, am I worthy? And oh, and all of these things. And it's so interesting to look back now thinking that I had made it, but I still wasn't happy. And so that was really the foray into personal development and growth. And then I spent a number of years in that world, published in magazines. And when I really started to get the mindset stuff, that's when I started to really just have fun and understand what am I doing here? This is great. The goal is great, but I'm not any better or worse if I win or don't win. And every person that goes after any goal is, just some random people saying if you're first or you're 12th or what have you, what does that matter? And having goals is really important. And so I did that in my 40s. And then around 46, I had stepped on big stages, became nationally qualified and became a pro in my federation of choice. And then I kind of got sick of it. That's wrong. I didn't get sick of it. When I started to really get deeper about wanting to help people transform beyond the body, I didn't know I was bringing mindset stuff into my groups at the time. I was just telling them my story. And so then when I started to like go next level myself of wanting to help people elevate as entrepreneurs or elevate as women, you know, because this was in my 40s. I never really did anything other than have these amazing kids before I was 40. So here I was parading around at 43 and 46 and leaping into entrepreneurship and building 6 and 7 figure businesses. And I was like, well, what else can we do? And so when I started to really dive into that and wanting to unlock potential in women, I remember very clearly a few times that I would get off these stages or speaking events and all anyone would do was comment on my body. And it started to piss me off because I was like, I'm telling you how you can be happy and you're not even hearing it. And so I'm pretty sure subconsciously I started to put on a layer because I didn't trust myself enough to be delivering a message of empowerment that would trump whatever I looked like. That's only just looking back now at the breadcrumb trail, right? And so then I did that and started building businesses. And then at 49, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And so in that moment of those words, you know, it didn't really matter what my freaking body fat percentage was or how I looked or how many abs I had. And that was where I went on a journey of like deep inner work and understanding about something greater than you, belief greater than you, and these kind of things. And then since that time, up until very recently of this year, 2024, I kept getting on a journey of like trying to get back and trying to get fit and trying to look a certain way. And when I finally made a decision this year of flipping the mindset of why I wanted to be healthy, that it really wasn't about how I looked. It was about being a strong 90-year-old and muscle is longevity. And I had to have a talk with myself. My higher self had to come in and call me on my bullshit and say, like, this isn't menopause, Carol. This is not perimenopause. This is not cancer. This is not estrogen blockers. This is not stress. Maybe it's a little bit of it, but you're drinking, you're not moving, you're stressed, you're not taking care of yourself. And quite frankly, you're not treating this vessel that thrived through cancer with respect. That's what I said to myself. And then I said to myself, screw you, but you can't really say that to yourself because it's all on you. And that's when I started to say, this is a different reason. So then I started going to the gym for a different reason. I started going to the gym for lifting up my future grandkids and imagining that one day a 50-pound little grandkid is going to need into a car seat. So I'm not going to the gym and half-assing it with a 2-pound weight. I'm going to fricking lift up a 50-pound weight. And I just kept doing that. And then I started paying attention and tracking my protein and tracking my steps. And I thought I was doing pretty good before. And I was, but not to the level of living like full longevity. And then I just continued on with consistency and ended up releasing 35 pounds. And one day looked in the mirror and went, oh, look at that. What happened there? Because I didn't focus on it. And the show was really because my soul, really, my inner child is like, my inner child who maybe didn't get the attention I wanted as a child for my, look at me, look at me, look at me. The stage became that space for my inner child. And I said, I really loved strutting in hoochie theme wear. Like I really loved being able to like wear stripper heels and a inappropriate costume and strut. And so I decided to do that in Mexico in November just because. And here we are.
Wow. I mean, I'm hearing the story and parts of it I hadn't heard before. And if you go on Carol's Instagram, which by the way, you should just do that because she writes as she talks. And so I've heard pieces of this. But one of the things I noticed when I watched you on stage, first of all, when you first came out, the energy of joy that emanated from your being was so potent that it brought tears to my eyes. And then watching your smile, like I knew that you were up there for you. It was clear as day. And in this process, especially in the last few months, I've witnessed you radically transforming your magnetism through this frequency. And it's interesting because post cancer, like the first time I met you was on stage talking about your cancer journey. And even then, I'm connecting the dots now. Even then, the way you spoke about that journey was never about the cancer. It was always about who am I becoming? And one of the things I know that you do, and one of the reasons you did this, was to show women that it's never too early and never too late. And I think personally, you look younger now than you have in a very long time, and you feel it too. So what do you think it is with the mindset of women in their late 40s and 50s? Like, what do you think happens? Does something switch off?
Nah. I don't know I mean, it's an interesting world, and right now I feel there's a lot of confusion from the menomania, I call it, because technically being on an estrogen blocker for all these years, I should have had a really hard time through it all. And so this is why I'm screaming from the rooftops, why muscle and longevity for anybody at any age. But I think the truth is, especially for women that have children, a child, or, and maybe not even that, because to be honest, we are in this beautiful age where women are doing a lot of stuff. And there's an element for me personally of just being like, I got it. I don't need you. I'm fabulous. Like I was like the strongest person anybody knew. And I was so proud of that. And then I started being like, is that what I want to be? Like, do I want to be? Is that me just acting out of fear? What am I covering up? Like, what part of like, you're the strongest human on the planet, is that really how I want to be, and unpacking that. And so women, just whether they have kids or not kids, carry a lot. And I think that especially when we come to this 40s, late 40s, 50s, I mean, there is no denying that, we're not 20 anymore. We're not 30 anymore. And it seemed to come on really fast. So then it becomes a like, oh, shizzle, cool, I can live to 120, but how much can I do? Or I thought I had more time, or, what do I want to do? Or I keep saying, I don't want to die with my magic inside of me. And what is that magic? And I don't know. And most of the women I work with or talk to, they're like, I don't know. And honestly, like, I don't know. Like there's nothing on paper that has me here doing this with you, anything that I've done, but I've been very good at following my intuition, my gut, and pivoting when things don't feel good, especially when they don't make sense to anybody else. And I think that a lot of my sisters are in a people-pleasing mode and needing it to make sense before they make a pivot, whether it's a divorce, whether it's a second divorce, whether it's a moving to Mexico, whether it's changing careers, whether it's getting fit. Like there's so much effort put into what are the steps, and I got to make sure it's the right step. But how do you ever know? How do you ever know? Like nothing you're doing in your life right now, can you tell me that you planned and worked out perfectly the way you wanted it to? And so we put so much pressure on ourselves. And I feel that at this age, it's this like, this part women that are like, okay, forget it. Now my life's, it's done. I never had, if I was going to do anything, I would have done it now. And they just like retreat to watch Bridgerton every night and, eat queso, which is like no shade because I was doing it, saying I didn't have time. Or there's a revolution, an emerging of women going like, oh, okay, wait a minute. I can be strong. I can be powerful. I can also be feminine. I can also be soft. I can follow my heart. I can follow my soul. I don't have to know every step. And if I do that, I keep getting what I say, fist bumps from the universe. Go here, say this, go there, join this, leave that. Okay, that didn't feel good. Let's go over there because you had to meet somebody at that thing that ended up being very painful to become the person to be able to say yes to the next opportunity. And just like this fitness transformation, what I'm here to say, which I would have always made fun of every other woman that came before me and said it, is this really can be very, very simple. And you can sit back and be like, well, all righty.
Oh, that's a mic drop. That actually even resonates with me, like getting out of our own way. And just so you all know, Carol got second place in the fitness show. I think that's very important to mention because that was not the objection. You didn't care. And what you just said about like following that magic and getting in tune with yourself, one of the things that you inspired me on in this is we would be talking because I live in Mexico, obviously, and I was excited to be able to come to the show. And I would text you and ask you how it's going. And next thing you know, you're showing me that you have this like this mannequin in your home and you're ripping apart costumes and sewing something back together. And now you forgot that you even owned this. And now you're doing this and doing that. And the reason I share that is when you were in that element of play, when you were in that magical childlike wonder, it really made me stop and be like, wait a minute. What else do I want to do that's not work related?
Yeah.
What is there that I can do that brings that essence of curiosity back out? And it really sparked me. Yeah. And when I was at your show and I watched what I had seen of the preparation and then watched you on there in your theme wear, in your stripper heels, just having the best flippin' time of your life, I was like, this is what this human experience is. Yeah. And I think that how you represent that in an embodiment of a woman is just so special. I've never met anyone like you in the way that you show up. And it all comes back, all of this fitness and all this transformation and all this mindset comes back to the phrase that I always think of when I think of you, and it's trust your magic. What does that essence really mean to you? Because I know that that is something you are bringing into the hearts and lives of so many others.
Yeah. You hit on a big thing there, that play, and we hear it, and I heard it. And ultimately, actually, when I was diagnosed with cancer, I read one book because I'm not an information overload girl. I don't watch the news. I don't Google stuff. Like, I know enough to keep my thoughts in line. And that was a very big blessing, that journey to really test me put into practice these mindset lessons that I had learned so much. And the one thing in the book was meditate and ask cancer why it came. And so I meditated and asked, and I heard to have more joy. And I instantly, as you can see, I talk to myself a lot. So I instantly said to myself, you're so happy. You built an online bit, like you're abundant. Your life is on your own terms. You're around amazing people. And then I heard very strongly, there's a difference between happiness and joy.
Wow.
And that's when I went and said, okay, what brings me joy? And it isn't titles or ranks or dollars. It is my kids' giggles. It is the snowflakes in Canada. It is the ocean waves. It is beautiful connections with humans that just like you can't even describe. Like, that's different than happiness. Happiness was like, I got a Louis Vuitton purse, or I, have the whatever, or the validation of others. But joy it's the little moments, it's the puppy snuggles, it's the teeny tiny things. And the reason my very first actual tattoo is this joy circle here is that I was standing in my mudroom because I bought myself the giant house that I thought I needed to have happiness. And I had a mudroom because you need a mudroom. And I had a big giant wall calendar of which I'd have everything on it, and every day and everything and every plan. And I remember in the middle of my diagnosis when I didn't know where, you never really know, but the big month when you're like, don't know what's coming. I remember standing in front of this wall calendar and I said, and I would cross off the days. I would cross off the days, right? And this was May 9th. So all the days were crossed off. And then there was all these things squished into the rest of the calendar. And I stood in front of this calendar and I went, how dare you disrespect days and cross them off like they're nothing and expect that you've got all these other days to do this, to just be quiet with your children or do whatever it is. And so I said, I will never cross off a day again. I will circle. And there was an orange Sharpie. I'm like, I will circle with an orange Sharpie the days I find joy. I will seek joy in every day. And that joy could be watching the sunrise or hearing the water droplet. Like, you seek joy in the littlest things. And I want to look at a calendar and have more joy circles. And I say that because that's very profound, right? Obviously.
Very.
But yet I forgot about it. And so I had to, something bit me. I had to tattoo a joy circle on my arm because as I started to get through all that and, come back to myself, I started to get into the hustle. I started to get into the grind. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, is this happiness or joy? Happiness or joy? So I tattooed on it. And then, lifes, as I say, and some more things. And obviously we had those panini years where we were all shut in, and I have 3 children and they had things that went on in that time. And that's when I just really grounded into like, what actually is important. And so it's just become this journey from a high achiever, do it all, pick me. Do you know my name? Let me give you everything I've done, human, to just like, yeah, we're just here. You know, at the end of the day, why things roll off me is because the alternate is that you're not here. So when the Panini years happened, I was like, yeah, I get it. But your option is you're not here. You know, like it's raining. Okay. It's, you know, you got no money in the bank account, but you're here. Like it just makes it all so much easier.
Yeah, and I witnessed that in everything you do. And I forgot about the joy circle in the calendar. And that's something that it's like, wow, like I do that too. I look at my calendar and I think, okay, how many things can I squish into this day? And then, okay, I got through the day. I'm going to do it over again. And really to take that pause. And one of the things that I think you're so brilliant at is your storytelling and your words. Even the Panini years, like, I don't know about you guys, but it makes me laugh every single time. And one of the projects that you've been working on is actually taking a lot of these stories and these moments and these reflections and putting it into a manual for other women. And so, because it all comes back full circle, literally. So I know it's probably going to be out when this episode launches. So tell us a little bit about this new manual that is being released to the collective.
Honestly, I could start bawling right now thinking that we're in frickin' Mexico talking about this book. Like, I think I just need everyone to know that everything you ever seek will indeed happen. You cannot hold the timeline. You cannot. I wanted to get fit again for freaking 8 years. I set out to write a book in 2018 and we are 2024. And what I came to realize is every iteration of the book was, at first it was just an overload of information. Here's all the millions of things I know. And it wasn't even all that I knew, because the whole trusting your magic really does come to the essence of like, what do you know? And what do you know? And like, before, I didn't trust my own knowledge, so that I wouldn't even make up words, even though like that's the essence of me, but I needed to speak like her because she's this way, you know? And then I would play the role of speaking like that, or I wouldn't swear. And I'm a swearer. I'm a swearer as like extra exclamation marks. I don't swear out of anger, but life is fucking amazing. And I'm going to say that. And, but you know, so you have to understand that. And so every level of the book was going to be just like, honestly, a fire hose of information. And then as I settled into this, it was even going to be called something different. And I just was like, you know what? It's really quite simple. So the book is Trust Your Magic, and it's stories, it's activations, it's Om work. Come on.
Come on.
I mean, I can't even with myself half the time. I was like, that is amazing.
It is amazing.
Because who doesn't want to do Om
work?
Because what I know is that if you don't take action, if you don't do something, you know, nothing moves. And so there's that like law of attraction only works with action, and you have to get traction. And I know a lot of people just think, or want, or hope, or vision board, but don't take any action. And I'm the poster child for taking imperfect action, for not thinking like at all for the most part. And so the book is really a guide to your greatness that really is just about understanding that we get to pull from all these people, whether it's podcasts, YouTubes, events, people you meet, and then you get to put it in like a freaking martini shaker. I'm making this up right now. This will be great too. And mix in your concoction and pour it out. And that's your magic. And so right now we're in a world where we can look at like make 5K in 5 days and 10K in this and do it this way. And this is how the algorithm works. But that's for them.
Right.
So take a little pinch of this and a little dash of that and a little mix of that and follow what feels good to you. Because if it doesn't feel good to you, it's not supposed to be the way for you. And so for me, I get to make up words. I get to have typos. I get to not care if it makes sense because I'm writing so fast. I'm not going back to edit. And that is what lands with humans. For you, it's your style. For you, it's your style. And so many women, I think, are just stuck into like, well, I don't know if this is the right way. Well, you do know. It feels good. And that's all you need to, that's what trusting your magic is following the feeling. the shit, I got to get out of this, or the like, I'm saying yes to something insane that by no reason should I absolutely say yes to this, but I have to say yes. And then when you understand that, you start saying yes to big, giant, gargantuan things that even though you're like, whoa, really? Your higher self is like, oh, buckle up, baby. And you trust that it's leading you to somewhere, but you won't know. I might not know till 2035 and say that freaking podcast in freaking Mexico that we thought was for this. Now look at us. Now we're in Exuma or wherever, and there's 100 people over there waiting for us because we're going to do a tribal dance. I don't know.
Oh my goodness. It's so true. And I'm staring at this ocean having one of those pinch me moments too, because I feel that the way that you express individuality is a way that gives everyone permission to just like take it easy. And you've given me even deeper permission to just like, none of the fine print really matters. Mm-mm. And it's so much more fun when we can just be. And I feel that in a world that we are saturated with experts and coaches and this, which I think are great, to have people show up vulnerable and authentic and share it all, the good, the bad, the scary, the ugly, like you do, is so refreshing. And I can't wait to have the manual. And I can't wait for all of you to have the manual. We'll make sure that the link is in the show notes below. And also, if any of what Carol said today, like grabs at your heart, like it does to me every time I get a text message from her, or if you feel that you just need to have that essence in your life as a mirror to give you back permission to really sink into your magic, I would highly recommend going over to Carol's website or Instagram, or you can let us know, and just seeing if that's what you're looking for. Because what I know is every single woman and every single human I see going into her presence comes away transformed, should they choose to really dive in. And I know you have lots of available options for people to work with you. So what are some of those options for people? Just where can they find you? Where can they go? Because I know that more people need this magic sparkled into their lives.
You're so cute. Well, by the time this comes out, I'll probably have 35 other things. But what I want to just quickly say about the coaches, that like everybody has a purpose. And every person in your life, like that, everybody has a different level's not the right word, but there have been pivotal people in my life that have been the proof of something, the proof of a woman in her 40s getting fit, of the proof of a single mom making 6 figures in network marketing, the proof of, right? And so I've learned to find what you focus on, you find. So I learned to find the proof. You're the proof that living in Mexico is like extremely exceptional. And so the ways people can work with me and be with me is ever evolving as I evolve. And so CarolElizabeth.com is my website. I am _ Carol Elizabeth is my Instagram. I've got the YouTube, I got the podcast, I got all the jazz, the book tour, the fashion line, these, we need to make these couches, like, I don't know, like Oprah, because actually this is what's so gorgeous about this too, is that couches and interviews have been on my vision board for so long. And I'm doing an event this coming December, and there was a couch there. I'm like, oh, I'm doing that. And now here we are on a couch, because technically we're supposed to be in a studio with perfect sound. And I'm like, that is just not the way.
That's not it.
It's not the way. Like when I first launched my podcast, I went in the closet of my son's room because I thought I needed perfect sound, and I didn't want like the dogs to bark and somebody to knock on the doorbell. And then after like 2 episodes, I was like, okay, it can't be a Carol Elizabeth thing if it's perfect.
No.
Like I don't edit, I don't go back, I don't change. And that's my perfect. And so if you are, all I will say is I am a person that's here to serve in any capacity. So if you come find me, like send me a message, send me an email. Like I'm not like, oh, my people will get back to you. Like I want to know where your hiccups are and your hurdles are. But I will say this, if you ask my advice, just be willing to hear my loving, real truth, because I had to do that to myself. And I think that's why a lot of people work with me, because I called myself on my bullshit, and I can call you on your bullshit. And sometimes, well, most often we kind of need that. but from somebody who we see ourselves in, because otherwise we can give ourselves the excuse like, well, he doesn't know he's a guy, or she doesn't know she's a this, or you've never lived my life. And I think that Gus, God, universe, source, to bring everyone together, has given me the blessing lesson of pretty much every hardship ever that somebody will go through, all of them, so that I can be this presence to any person and show that on the other side, or during the bridge, or walking across, that you can have lightness in your heart and find magic in the journey, in the depths of the darkness, because then you live in the light and it becomes extra light.
I love it. And it's just such a representation that everything is connected. And that's what I love about you. You never put yourself in a box, or you never put anyone in a box, or anyone in a round cube, in a square hole. And I love it so much. And I really believe that what you have coming out over the next few months and the next few years is even going to blow our own minds. And I cannot wait to witness it. And so every single thing that Carol just said is going to be in the show notes. Go ahead, go browse, go play, have fun. And I'm so excited to see what comes out of all of this over the next year, Carol. You are truly the fairy sparkle mother. You really are.
I am equally excited because I have no idea. I'm just locked in for the ride.
Thank you.
I love you.
I love you.
Mwah.
Thank you so much for joining me on the Living Word podcast today. My hope is that you have something new or a remembrance that you can apply in your life right now. Isn't that the whole point of us learning and growing? To take new understandings and alchemize them through our own human experience? Please like and leave a comment or review if you enjoyed this episode, and share it with people in your life who would benefit from hearing it also. Make sure you subscribe to the Living Word podcast on your favorite platform and be the first to know about upcoming episodes. Sending so much love and gratitude to be on this journey together. See you soon.